once again. I am Jashanpreet Kaur, a member at Mpcj, and I'll be the moderator of the session for today. I welcome you all to the workshop on how to ace judiciary, organized by Mpcj. On behalf of Mpcj, I would like to welcome our guest speaker of the day, that is Sukriti Jha ma'am. Before beginning with the session, I would like to briefly explain about TAQ and also our guest speaker of the day. The amicus curiae, that is TAQ, is the brainchild of several legal luminaries and eminent personalities across the country and the globe. TAQ is a dream online platform that aims at proliferating legal knowledge and providing an ingenious understanding with cognizance of various fields of law to ensure that legal knowledge and experience penetrates every nook and corner of the ever-growing legal sector. To ambitious and studious legal brains across the country, TAQ aims at providing valuable contribution to contemporary legal issues, along with development in the omnipresent field of law to the masses. We are also registered under the Indian Partnership Act 1932 and Ministry of MSME Government of India. The Amicus Curiae is presently the eighth largest legal website in India. We are connected to more than 20,000 law students from across 80 plus law schools in India. So, talking about our guest speaker of the day, that is Sukriti Jha ma'am. She is a remarkable legal professional with a passion for justice. A graduate of the National Law Institute, University Bhopal, she holds an impressive record, securing an All India rank of 209 in the CLAT 2015. She recently achieved ninth rank in the Delhi Judicial Services Examination and 65th rank in the Madhya Pradesh Civil Judge Examination. Currently pursuing her LLM in Constitutional and Criminal Law at the NLU Delhi, Sukriti ma'am is undoubtedly a rising star in the legal field. Today she is with us to give her valuable insights for cracking judiciary. So now, with the permission of our esteemed speaker, I seek permission to begin the session. Over to you, ma'am. Ma'am, you are on mute. Please unmute yourself.
I'm so sorry.
It's all right, ma'am.
Yeah, am I audible?
Yes, ma'am, you're clearly audible.
Okay. Thank you for inviting me. I think, I have, and thank you for the introduction also. So I don't have to introduce myself. So I have actually spoken to and guided almost more than 268. I think I stopped counting at 268 aspirants till now. And what I've noticed is, the session can become more fruitful when people ask me questions and I'm able to answer specific queries. तो ऐसा करते हैं, पहले आप लोग बताइए, व्हाट आर यू मोर कंफर्टेबल इन, इंग्लिश में या हिंदी में, और लिटिल मिक्स ऑफ बोथ इज ओके.
Ma'am, for me, English will be helpful.
Okay.
And also mix of both languages would work.
Okay,
Mix
okay.
is
I'll
fine.
try to I'll try to maintain a balance of both. Okay, leaning towards English, and I'll briefly tell you guys about my journey, and then we can open the floor up to questions. I would the questions that you guys asked me could be along the lines of how to prepare for prelims, mains, and interview. Firstly, that. Secondly, if you have any ancillary questions as to when to start preparation, etc., you can also ask me. I think half the things, once I give you a brief introduction of my journey, you'll be able to know from that. So I graduated in 2020 from NLIU Bhopal, and I came back to Delhi, which is my home. Started preparing after that. The exam that I was eligible for, the first exam that I became eligible for after graduation was the MP Civil Judge exam. So I started my judiciary journey with that exam. Everybody thinks that since I'm from Delhi, I would have started preparing for DJS first, but that was not the case. Also, to dispel any myths कि oh my god MP है और DJS तो एकदम difficult है, एकदम different है. So how did you do that? I would like to say this at the outset. Difference between state judicial services exams is overstated. जितना डिफरेंस आपको लगता है कि है उतना एक्चुअली होता नहीं है. Okay. uh, Now, I started preparation. I took a small crash course at the time for the MPCJ prelims, because I felt like I needed a little bit of guidance at the time. About 2-3 months, I cleared prelims in my first attempt, couldn't clear mains, made a couple of mistakes, didn't do answer writing practice as extensively as I should have. ignored certain important topics of preparation also, of the syllabus also. So I suffered because of that, although I did miss the cutoff by only 2 marks, which was very frustrating when I finally came to know my marks. But well, whatever, if you're not selected, you're not selected. I was very dejected at the time when this happened. So I told my father that, I think I want to get out of this process. And it was already 2022 by the time. It was February 2022. So it was going to be almost 2 years since I graduated. No job, nothing in my hand, no backups also. I didn't give any other state judicial service exam because I had mental blocks that if you prepare for one, then you cannot prepare for another, so on and so forth. My parents had kept telling me no. So, us samay kya hua tha? Rajasthan and Haryana had also come out, which I was, since I'm Hindi speaking, so I was eligible to give those as well. I missed out on those, thinking that I've put in all my effort for MPCJ, and this is definitely what I'm going to clear. Didn't work out, of course. So I told my dad I want to withdraw from the process. He screamed his guts out at me and he said, ki, you're actually making a joke of yourself, because what you're essentially doing is you say that you have a dream, and at the first failure that you have, you're ready to abandon it so easily. So that's not a good idea. So you should keep going. I'm so glad I kept going. And then the next notification was for MP was out. DJS came out 10 days later when I restarted my preparation. uh, Gave the exams, also gave LLM entrance exams side by side, since I wanted to do some value addition. Didn't join a job, didn't think that was because I thought that would take away from my preparation completely. There's a different level of accountability in a job that you don't have as a student. So that's what I did. um, and luckily kept giving both the exams. Both also happened simultaneously. So the prelims were 2 weeks apart, mains were say one month apart, interview was again 2 weeks apart. So it was a very simultaneous process for both MP and DJS. Again, uh, the difference between the two is overstated, right? Because I was not preparing separately for one and for the other. Common subjects you sort of prepare together only. So and I was able to do it. So I guess anyone with the right attitude would also be able to do it. Yeah, and then I finished my LLM also. I have uh, fortunately, by God's grace, cleared these two exams as well. And yeah, here I am. So I think we can open the floor up to questions now. I would prefer if we went in the order of pre-mains interview. So if people have questions relating to pre and mains first, let's take those up first. Interview we'll deal later. Yeah.
You guys can raise your hands and then I'll call your names one by one and then you can ask questions. Like we'll follow that order.
Yeah.
So Archita Garg.
Good evening, ma'am. First of all, congratulations on clearing both the exams. So
Thank
my
you.
first very basic question that popped up was like, if did you take up Delhi or MP now? Like you have both the options now. So which one did you take?
I don't think I think everybody knows, since I'm from Delhi, what option I'm going to take, what state service I'm going to take up. But I don't think I should expressly say that on a public platform. So
All right, now. And just one more question.
yeah.
I could not clear CAT this year. I'm going to Christ University now. Will it
Okay.
be possible for me, like, if I start working now, can I crack judiciary, or like for like, would it be a strictly if I'm not coming under you?
So wait, you will be joining a 5-year course, if I'm not wrong.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and you'll be starting your first year now.
Yes, ma'am. I'll be starting this next week.
Okay, so firstly I'll tell you, just calm down. Okay, I started preparation after I graduated in 2020. Okay, you have a long way to go. I'd advise you, live your college life to the fullest. अच्छे से पढ़ाई करो वहाँ पे. Study the law as much as you can very well while you're in college. Like build a very good foundation, which will only help you do things, because these exams are actually, they take you out of your comfort zone a lot. You have to do a lot of these things, you have to study a lot of things which are really not, you're not in your comfort zone most of the time. Like I was not in my comfort zone for 2 years while I was preparing. Okay, so try to do things abhi say college may, if you have a fear of speaking, try to do moods, write papers, do things that require effort. I'd advise that, so that you're in a habit of being outside your comfort zone, which is precisely what this process is all about. The ideal time for preparation again would be probably in your penultimate year, I think. Fourth year or fifth year, you can start. It takes about 8 to 10 months to prepare for this exam, thoroughly, prelims and mains. So start it at that time. Don't worry, you don't have to start working from now on the judicial services. You could also join a coaching if you like while you're in college. Now we have, after COVID, everything is online, and it's actually, you know, uh, really, it's, I think it's better than the offline thing that we had previously. So yeah, I'd advise you to do that. Just chill out.
All right. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Yeah.
So next in the row is Samradhi Dutta.
Yes.
Good evening, ma'am.
Hmm.
Actually, this judiciary examination is not something which I was keen towards a week back, but for a week I was looking up several judiciary exams and how to prepare for those. One question which popped up in my mind when you said about this crash course:
Hmm.
is it necessary to take any sort of crash course, or self study is essential if I start from my second year? Because at this moment I'm in my second year. So will it be possible if I start studying now and means consistently with my moods and all those things with publications,
Yeah.
keeping those intact? Will it be possible for me to crack judiciaries
Yeah.
without any sort of?
Um, See, I think coaching, or a crash course or a test series or a foundation batch, whatever you want to do, I think that that's again a very personal choice. Like I decided to take a crash course because I thought I didn't need a foundation batch again, because I felt like my foundation was made in college. Well, so I was fine with that. So that's firstly a very personal thing. You have to take a call yourself, because you know yourself, your capabilities, etc., much better than anybody else can. Secondly, I don't think you need to start from your second year. Like I said before, if you want to, I'd suggest that, see, you look up the syllabus of the particular state or states that you're targeting, and maybe while you're in college and you're studying that particular subject, you can, sort of approach it with the judicial services preparation, mindset as well. So you could do that. And yeah, I mean, see, the earlier the better, obviously, but I just say it doesn't take more than 8 to 10 months to finish the entire syllabus properly, with, say, maybe a revision as well. So focus on your, I mean, see, this college life now is not going to come back. Okay, so enjoy right now the time that you have, and फिर आगे तो वक्त ही वक्त है. Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
next,
sorry, just 1 second. I think Archita had asked one more question about being from an NLU or non-NLU. I'll just deal with that quickly. It does not matter. Okay. There's a healthy mix of people from NLUs in the judicial services and people not from NLUs as well, from CLC Delhi or from Christ, or traditional other 3-year LLB courses. So it doesn't matter, as long as you've studied law well enough, you're good to go.
next is Shreya Agrawal.
Yeah. You're on
Shreya, please
mute.
unmute yourself.
Sorry. Thank you for agreeing to speak with us today. Actually, ma'am, my questions range from the topic of the preparation and to the like the judicial services examination itself.
I think Jashanpreet, can you hear her?
No, ma'am, I guess she has some network issue, so we
I
can proceed further and like we'll ask her to type in the chat box.
Yeah, fair
Uh,
enough.
so next is Anchit Goyal.
Yeah.
Anchit Goyal, please unmute yourself.
Am I audible?
Hello.
Shreya,
Oh, I'm
Shreya,
so
you can,
lost
Shreya,
right
Yes.
Hello.
just a second, guys. Shreya, you
Okay.
lost your network connection. If you have like good network, you can speak, or otherwise you can like type in chat box. I'll speak out for you. I guess she was again lost it. Anchit, you can continue.
Yeah.
Hello,
Yes.
good evening, ma'am.
Good
Ma'am,
evening.
I am from a third year student from Campus Law Center, Delhi. And
Yeah.
ma'am, my doubt is that I am a little bit confused whether to go and pursue my career in litigation or whether to go for the judiciary because I have been doing the internships in the Supreme Court and the High Courts, and also I have got a lot of work to do there. So,
Hmm.
but due to the family pressure, I am getting that I should go for the judiciary.
Hmm.
I have an edge over both the things. I have an interest for the judiciary also, but I just want to ask you that whether going in litigation is as much recognizable as going in judiciary, because I know in litigation it's a long road to go.
Hmm.
So yes, ma'am.
See, I wish I had done some litigation actually, to be able to answer your question properly. I think somebody has their mic. Yeah, okay. Okay. So I wouldn't know whether it's equally recognizable or not as becoming a judge. So the thing is, all these things are very personal. Whether you want to do litigation or you want to be a corporate lawyer or you want to be a judge, all these things are really personal. I don't think anyone can probably tell you what to do. I would say that I was motivated towards becoming a judge for personal reasons, and my parents always wanted me to join the government, and I wanted to remain connected with the field of law because I loved studying the law. So a government job that gives you lifelong connection with law is the judicial services, so that's how I came here. Now everybody has their own reasons, so I suggest that आप जो आपके रीजंस हैं आप उनको एक बार रिव्यू करिए कि आप कोई भी चीज क्यों करना चाहते हैं. Also, if you talk about recognition, I think recognition in a government job is not very easy to get because you're not looked at as like an individual. You're probably looked at as part of the system. So I think the kind of recognition you'll probably get as a lawyer when you start doing really well, and the names that we just throw around these days, so that'll only happen when you're practicing. So just think about it, think about what you want ultimately from life. I think the money is pretty good in litigation if that's one of your motivating factors. So think about it. I mean, I don't know if I can give you like the right answer.
So I hope Anchit you're clear with your answer. So next we have is Abhin Gupta.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening.
Ma'am, ma'am, one question I have that for the prelims there are three patterns like prelims, main,
Hmm.
and all. So what type of question come like it's MCQ format or one word that I want to ask, ma'am? Because I'm a bit confused between that in prelims what type of questions come and in pre and mains what type of questions come in one word or what type of MCQ
uh,
format question
what
that I
I
want to ask, ma'am.
Yeah, I'd actually suggest everyone to have a look at the previous year's papers of whatever state you're targeting, or preferably for all the states if you can. There are very nice books available in the market which have compiled all these, MCQs. So, prelims, to answer your question, is mostly multiple choice question based. So, you have one particular main question, and after that, four options, and you have to select the most appropriate one. That's how it usually works. Mains again is subjective, so you have a question and you have to write the answer in, to the best of your capability. There are word limits in some states, there aren't page limits or word limits in others. So yeah, that's what you have to do. But I think to be able to understand the pattern of any state, right? You should look at the previous year's papers and study them thoroughly. Like I held the previous year's papers for me as a bible. Okay, so after a while I had read previous year's questions of prelims or mains or whatever, maybe 8 or 9 times. तो अगर कोई previous year का question repeat होता था तो I would immediately recognize कि अच्छा ये ये पहले आ चुका है. Even if you don't recognize the state it's from or the year it's from, you can. So that's how thorough you must be, because the previous year's paper is your only guide to the kind of paper you will face in the exam. right? So that's what you should do. I think I would advise that. One more thing, I think there are a lot of questions with reference to the books that I used. So it's not possible to talk about each and every one of them. I used several books during the course of my prep. What I would suggest is I do have a LinkedIn page called by my name, by Sukriti Jha. You could just go on that. There are two very detailed posts on the page which I have in which I have talked about all the books I referred to. So there's Singhals and there's AK Jain and Universal and everything under the sun. Those are all the books I've referred to. You could just go there and check that out. I've written little reviews also for those books, कि इसमें ये अच्छा है इसमें वो अच्छा है, things like that. So I think we would save some time here if we don't talk about all that right now. Yeah, please.
Ma'am, so in mostly in all the state that conduct the judicial paper, in all
Yeah.
the prelims exam there is MCQ type question, right? What you are saying.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Okay. Thank you so much.
So we have two more raised hands, and then afterwards I'll read the questions which are written in the chat box.
Yeah.
So Shreya Agrawal.
Yeah, I'm really sorry for earlier the connection problem.
That's okay.
Ma'am, I was wondering if you'd be open to answering a certain questions regarding the judicial exams as a whole, because there is certain contradictory information online. Um,
Okay.
and if you're not willing to do that, then we can. I have some certain preparation questions as well.
Okay. Let's go through the your first set of questions quickly. Yeah.
Okay, and actually, in my research of the judicial exams, there were a lot of opinions online about the fact that there's little potential for growth because it takes a lot of time to get promoted to higher judicial services
Yeah.
and to the High Court, and a lot of opinions were obviously of the fact that there is no scope to get into the Supreme Court because you reach retirement age by then.
Yeah.
So, would you please be able to throw some light over that?
Oh no, that's absolutely true. Actually, whatever you're saying, I don't think there's too much. I mean, I can't, like, it's fact, I can't really have an opinion. Yeah, in terms of growth, I think you will the by normal promotion, the position that you're going to reach is that of a district and sessions judge. Sadly, in our country, or I mean, however you want to put it, we have a collegium system to get to the High Court and the Supreme Court. So you have to. You cannot sadly appear for a pre-mains interview there and get into the High Court or the Supreme Court. So that's what you have to do. Having said that, today in Delhi High Court, there are about 48 judges and 22 are from the judicial services, right? So I don't think the ratio is that bad. I don't think when people talk about growth, I don't think people look at the numbers properly. I don't know of judges who've reached the Supreme Court, so I wouldn't be able to tell you that. Also, yeah, but I mean, the thing is, the idea is that the work that you do in the subordinate judiciary is also equally important to the constitutional courts. And I mean, if you think it's worth your while, then you can, of course, continue with preparation in this line. Otherwise, you know.
Thank you so much, ma'am. The other question that I had was since I am from Mumbai University and I have to devote most of my time doing internships because my college does not offer a lot of placement options.
Hmm.
So, do you think it is advisable to wait till the penultimate year to start my preparation? Because then I would obviously require more internships to be done in order to
Hmm.
secure a job by the end of the 5 year course. Or
Hmm.
should I still stick to the fourth and fifth year of preparing since right now would not be beneficial?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like, when I say that you should live like a full college life, I mean that you do internships, because that's what I also did. So you do internships, you build a little bit of a CV as well. You keep your grade also on in line, because ultimately you will realize that this exam doesn't require like 5-6 years of preparation, and I don't think even the civil services exam requires that. It's like about a year or maybe 6 to 8 months. If you're fast, you can clear it. So yeah, like I'd say, like, live your college life right now, do your internships, you'll be fine. Yeah.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Amisha Sharma.
Ma'am, first of all, I thank you for joining the session. Ma'am, I had a question. Also, ma'am, I can't see you. Yeah.
Okay.
So, ma'am, I had a question which was a little bit similar to the previous speaker. However, now I think I have one more doubt which is being raised because I'm in my penultimate year. I
Hmm.
am studying in Christ University.
Okay.
So the question was that, ma'am, whatever we are going through, particularly in the present, that's
Hmm.
how the lens keeps on changing. So when
Right.
I was in my first or second years, I think I took law as a very different lens, particularly to what I am right now taking it as.
Hmm.
So supplementing the internships also. Now the
Hmm.
question is based on the fact that whether should I go for my LLM, maybe
Hmm.
from a foreign university for
Hmm.
6 months or whatever the duration is, and then I should come back and give my judicial exam.
Hmm.
Will there be more probability of passing the exam once I am done with my LLM, or should I start with my penultimate year with my preparation? Because even I would be giving my Delhi Judiciary, ma'am, and I'm 110% very much emotional to that fact that I really want to get inside. I would give heart and soul for that. So your opinion would matter a lot, ma'am.
Actually, as a neutral third party, there are contradictions in what you said. So if you want to give heart and soul to Delhi judicial services, then the thought of LLM should not come to your mind. Okay. Because LLM is it's an academic degree. Ultimately, after doing a master's, it's a research degree. So you can become a research fellow. You can start teaching. So LLM anyway is not a necessary qualification also to appear for the judicial services exams. So I'd say that, see, you're young right now, and I'm sure there are a lot of thoughts that are coming into your head as to what you should do. And having done my LLM, although I didn't go to a foreign university, I did it from NLUD. I'd say that give some time for preparation first. Masters is something that you can do later as well. So give some time to your preparation first. If you're that passionate about it, so emotionally connected to it, do it right now. Reason being that when you graduate from college, you are at your maximum energy level. That energy keeps decreasing after a while, okay? And then you will want to have your there are other aspects of your life that will take over. You'll want to settle into a job and your career, etc. So I'd say for graduate and then start appearing for these exams, and then maybe you can sort of take a break and do your LLM, depending on how things work out. If you get selected, you can always do your LLM after you join services. Lots of people do their masters after that as well. Or like like how I did my LLM last year. Like I started it last year. I'm done with it now. So I decided to take a break from my preparation. I said, let me add some value to my CV. So that's what I did. So, see, a lot of times we want to do certain things, but there are certain things holding us back. So, just be very clear with what it is that you want to do. If DJS is what you want to do, then just do that. Then don't think about anything that distracts you from it. Okay?
Clear, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
So now, we'll shift to the questions asked in the chat box.
Okay.
So before these, we have one question asked on the YouTube live. So this question is from Manjot Kaur.
Okay.
She says that one of my professors said that being a judge is not mentally easy because the social life of a judge is not as good as others have it. Like they cannot meet people that frequently and they cannot go anywhere just like that. And their
Yeah.
social life is very secluded. So is it so, or is it just a myth or an old practice?
I think I'm not the best person to answer this question because I have not even started my training yet. So I have not been exposed to the life of a judge at all, actually. So whatever I say will be only theoretical or hearsay. But having seen a lot of my college seniors and people who I know are judges, I don't think they have sad social lives at all. So if you're worried about your social life, then I don't think you should be worried. Judges have their own circles as well, even though they're not supposed to mix too much with other people, because the reason is that it might influence your impartiality, your judgment at the end. So that's the reason. But I mean, I don't think we should even worry about all these things. You'll have a really nice life, even as a judge, and a very balanced, happy, um sociable life with friends. So don't worry about it.
So the next question is from Rishi Kumar. What is the roadmap to prepare for mains?
Oh, for means, firstly, I'd say answer writing, really, really important. I didn't do enough answer writing practice, and I did fail MP mains the first time. Now, when I say answer writing practice, please don't misquote me, because it doesn't mean that you start your answer writing practice the day you start preparation. That's not the time to start it. You should ideally first study the bare acts. That's what I always say. You study the bare act first, um, supplement it with a guidebook. You'll go through that in the list of reference books I've given. Supplement it with that. Finish your syllabus once. Okay, that takes about 3 or 4 months to look at all the subjects once. After that, you start your answer writing practice. Okay, that is the correct time to start it. People who started from day one, you're doing it wrong. uh, Secondly, always study the previous year's papers really, really well. That helped me, especially for the Delhi Judicial Services exam. I didn't have time to do a test series, etc. And it was my first attempt as well. So I only had the previous year's papers to as a reference point. And that really helped me. There are a lot of repeated topics, repeated questions, not exactly, but a lot of repeated themes in the paper that will help you. And roadmap for mains also, like I always say, that pre and mains prep should be integrated. And I this helped me a lot, because when I prepared for DJS prelims, I had read the Bare Act so thoroughly, and I had gone through these commentaries so thoroughly, that for mains I only had to revise it. you know so I'd say that do like an integrated pre and mains prep, and you'll be fine. Mains prep does not only mean answer writing. Mains prep means that if somebody gives you a particular topic, you should be able to answer all. You should know what is the mains answer like. It's a holistic answer, right? Intro, body, conclusion, illustration, case law, some concept in that, right? So that is how you should study a particular topic. That's what I mean when I say study for pre and mains together. Answer writing comes later.
All right. So the next question is from Renal. Ma'am, from where you took your crash course, which academy?
So because this was for the Mpcj prelim, so there is it's called Shukla Law Academy. It's based in Bhopal, so I took it from there.
Next question is from Pooja Yadav. Ma'am, what kind of questions are there in the prelims? Are they just based on the law subjects or also include general science or economics?
No, I don't think too many general science economic questions, but again, you have to look at the syllabus. For instance, MP has 20 marks dedicated to GK and current affairs. So then they have their GK current affairs questions only for 20 marks. Delhi has legal GK. So you'll have to read a little bit of legal GK. There's a really nice, cute little universal book. It's called Universal's Guide to Legal GK. It's about 100 or 150 pages. I had read that before my DJS prelims. That's very, very helpful. So yeah, but it's only actually prelims is, if you look at the prelims, and I'm doing actually on my LinkedIn page, I'm doing an analysis also of the DJS prelims paper. Those of you who are on LinkedIn can just see that. You will notice most questions are from the Bare Act only. So it's a very, very Bare Act oriented exam, pre mains and interview. So that's what it is.
So next question is again like which books do you prefer? So I guess we have already answered that.
Yeah.
Next is from Aditya. It's just like a personal question. Like why did not you go for the corporate sector since you were from a tier one NLU?
Oh, I think I answered that before. My parents wanted me to go for the government sector. There's a little bit of family history. 3 generations have been in the civil services. So they wanted me to appear for civil services. I did not want to do that because I love the law too much. So I said, again, law and government, a lifelong combination is only judicial services. So here I am.
Next question is from Mansi Mishra.
Yeah.
Ma'am, would you suggest us to go through the previous year questions before starting with foundation or after completing our syllabus once?
No, I think, and might be an unpopular opinion, but I think you should. The first thing you should do is look at the previous year's papers. Okay, you will now. There'll be a lot of things that you don't know, that you'll feel scared. Oh my God, this is so difficult because you haven't studied it yet. But I would say that when you look at the previous year's papers, you always have an idea of what kind of questions they're going to ask you. So when I looked at Delhi, I was super duper scared because I was like, it's not going to be a straightforward paper at all. So when I study the Bare Act also, I cannot study it superficially. I have to really, get into the depth of the Bare Act. I have to read each and every keyword from the Bare Act. Like, I give this example almost in every session that I go to, that there was a question in the previous prelims, in the previous DJS prelims, which was from 357A CRPC, which is Victim Compensation Scheme. And what they had done is they had just taken a line from the Bare Act, okay, and they'd made four options out of it, and they had just changed one word in it. So the correct answer was that the trial court recommends. So recommend को change करके उन लोग ने ऑप्शन बी में लिखा ट्रायल कोर्ट ऑर्डर्स or trial court directs or trial court advises, something like that. Okay, but the correct answer is recommend. So when you read the Bare Act, you have to read it with that depth, that you don't get this is a very they're trying to trick you, so they want to know whether you've read it properly or not, right? So only when you understand that, okay, no, trial court is recommending to the legal service authority, it's not ordering, it's not directing, so on and so forth, then you will be able to answer it. So only a PYQ will help you study it like that. So, yeah.
Next is from Ritha. Ma'am, is litigation or courtroom experience not a requirement for judiciary exams?
Well, the rules are different for different states. Like MP recently has come up with an amendment where they've made 3 years of litigation experience mandatory. Delhi does not have such a requirement. Although, of course, it helps if you have certain experience. It does help. I didn't have any experience. My knowledge is all theoretical, even to this day. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It all depends. See, it's of course helpful. I wouldn't say it's not helpful, but even if you don't have it, doesn't mean you won't be able to clear the exam. Also, one more thing about the why didn't I join a tier one law firm? Yeah, just to get back to that, I had interned at tier one law firms, and after that, I took this decision of going for a government job because I knew that that is not the kind of work I wanted to do. That was not fulfilling for me, and that is not the kind of life I wanted to have as well. So I took the decision after interning. Until my fourth year, I was doing internships and doing everything. So it was not a half baked sort of decision. I would also advise you to do the same.
Next is from Satakshi. Ma'am,
Yeah.
how did you prepare for the interview and what type of questions were asked?
Okay, so I'll tell you about both my interviews. First, let's talk about DJS. DJS interview was very, very short, hardly 5 to 6 minutes. It's also, there are three honorable High Court judges and there are two law secretaries from the Delhi government who are sitting. So you sort of go, they'll ask you to sit down, and then the law secretaries start questioning you. They question me on basic things like the basic structure or culpable legislation, very, very basic questions. And then the honorable judges start asking you. They asked me an opinion based question also as to what I thought of the Uniform Civil Code, whether it should be implemented, and there are certain questions which are just asked for to break the ice, sort of. So they did all that, and then Honorable Justice Siddharth Mridul started asking, a lot of questions. About 10 or 15 questions were asked in a span of 5 to 6 minutes, and it was very, very quick. So, if you, it was like sort of like a table tennis back and forth situation going on. There was no time to think, like a rapid fire thing. So they asked me basic questions only, questions based on recent cases from juvenile justice, arbitration. They also asked me a question from a local law, a Delhi local law, which was not there in our syllabus. So, I didn't know that. So I just said, okay, sir, sorry, I don't know. And yeah, and that was that really. That was my interview. It was just 5 6 minutes. So, and there were no personality based questions. Now, comparing that to MP, that went on for about 17 18 minutes. I'd given MP interview before Delhi, so I was very, very nervous on that day, and I didn't do a very good job in the interview. So luckily, my mains marks were all right, but my interview did not go as well because I was very nervous. And when I came out of the interview, I sort of realized that they were not asking very tough questions. It's just that I was not thinking with a calm mind. So I think for the interview, I'd advise everybody, the day you have the interview, just don't study anything, do like a lot of meditation calm yourself down, because that is way more important than the studying that you have to do. So when I did it for Delhi, that interview went fabulously. I scored also really well in the interview. So yeah, that's what my experience was. Mostly it's a viva voce, right? It's not a personality test. Like UPSC calls it a personality test, so it's not exactly a personality test, although they'll ask you like why do you want to become a judge and things like that, but those are not decisive questions. Decisive comes from your law only. Sometimes also they do this one thing that they have bare acts in front of them, which is why I keep saying it's a very bare act oriented exam till the interview. So they'll just have a barrack in front of them and they'll say, okay, so what is the provision? Tell us the section number for, say, where's the protection to judges and magistrates in the CPC from arrest? And then you just sort of randomly tell them what the section number is. So they do things like that. They'll say, okay, what is 311 CRPC? Tell us what is it. So yeah, so that's you have to focus a little on barrack and sections also. Yeah.
So next question is from Renan, student of third year. Ma'am, how to improve the writing skills for the mains exam?
How to improve writing skills? I'd say practice PYQs. That's what I did. I never sat and wrote a full length test. I think what I used to do is I would pick 4 or 5 questions and try to write answers for them on a daily basis, especially when I was close to mains. um, this was during MP mains that I was able to do this. DJS mains के पहले तो बिल्कुल time नहीं था to do answer writing practice, so I couldn't. That time my NLIU hypothetical questions helped me, because in NLIU also we used to have fact based questions in our exams. So the way I used to deal with them in college was the way I dealt with them in my mains also, and it worked out. What you're basically supposed to do is make legal issues. There's always a legal issue that, okay, whether the dying declaration was true and voluntary or not, something like that, and then you deal with every issue separately. That's what you do, and then you write a conclusion. So that's what I did. When I hadn't cleared my MP mains, I spoke to a friend, an acquaintance, who later became rank 2 in the MP civil judge exam that year when I hadn't gotten selected. And she advised me that always write your answer. Say you've written 2 answers today, um, and have them reviewed by a friend. So she used to have them reviewed by another friend who was also preparing, and that girl would send answers to her. So I followed the same exercise in my second attempt for MP, and that was very helpful. And the girl I was doing this exercise with, every day we would sort of review our answers, and she'd say nahi ye theek se nahi likha, ye bhi add kar de, things like that. That helped. That girl also got selected in MP, and so did I.
So the next question is that, ma'am, there are a large number of aspirants preparing for judiciary examination.
Yeah.
So the question is like, what is the strategy, or what is that one thing that makes an aspirant or his preparation different from others?
Well, there isn't one thing, but I'd just say that, see, there are days when you don't feel like studying at all, okay, and it's a very long process of pre-mains interview. So it's about a year long, and then probably you're preparing, say, 6 months before that. So it's a very long drawn process. So the point is, you need to keep your patience on till the end, and it's very easy to lose patience, and it's also natural. So I think the people who succeed in this examination are the ones who study out of discipline. जिस दिन पढ़ने का मन नहीं भी कर रहा है, अगर आप विल पावर करके उस दिन पढ़ाई कर लेते हैं, I think you have won half the battle. So that's what you need to do. You need to uh, get out of your comfort zone, like I said. So yeah, I think that's one thing.
I guess the next question is also like somewhat same. Like the situations do change during the preparation, and how did you tackle the days when you couldn't be productive?
I tried to, there were several days like that, to be very honest. And the thing is, your personal life is also simultaneously going along with this thing. So, all that is not stopping. There are issues at home. And, it's a very lonely, like this battle, I feel, is a battle you have to fight alone. This battle of preparation. Nobody can come and prepare for you or, help you. People can support you also to a very limited extent only. So I think what you need to do is you need to have this, like I used to keep telling myself, this one non-negotiable thing that was there in my head, that if I don't study right now, or if I don't make the effort right now, I might have to settle for a job that I didn't want in the first place, that I was not okay with doing. Okay, not that it's not a worthwhile job, it's just not fulfilling for me. So am I okay with compromising or not, or doing something that I didn't want to do throughout my life? Or do I want to, trouble myself a little right now and study when I don't want to study? Okay, so when you look at it, when you weigh it like that, then obviously studying right now seems the better option rather than compromising for your whole life. So that's how you keep your motivation on. And honestly, some days if you don't feel like studying, don't study. That's also okay. You'll be very, very tired after giving like two prelims and two mains. Like, you'll feel tired also, you'll feel tired while you're preparing. Don't study. Take a break, go out and meet your friends, watch a movie, do all that. But nothing should be able to, like, distract you from what you're actually supposed to do until you reach the your desired goal. So yeah.
The next question is, what would be the vital criteria an aspirant should look into while choosing between different states one is willing to appear for?
uh Sorry, I mean, how do you choose a state? Like, is
Uh,
that
yes, ma'am. Like, what should be the criteria to choose
criteria?
prepare for which state?
I think criteria it's dependent, again, it's very personal. See, so most people select their home state, you know because that's where they want to live, because it's a state based exam, so you cannot be transferred outside the state, so you choose it like that. Ki, okay, I can live here for the rest of my life until retirement, things like that. Um so I think that's the first, like, the major thing. um that's what you do. Otherwise, you look at the syllabus also, whatever is manageable, you sort of start with that particular state and you target those states also. So yeah, I think what I have seen people do is that they will appear for all exams. Okay, because the point is these are not annual exams, so you have to, you like, if the notification has come out this year doesn't mean that it'll come out next year again, and it's not very regular, so people usually appear for whatever notification is out. That's what they do. So nobody particularly chooses, मतलब ऐसा होता है जहाँ आप जज बन गए फिर बन गए. And then you can appear for other states also wherever you want to go, like that. So it's very random.
So, ma'am, this question is from the YouTube live.
Yeah.
Uh, in your opinion, what is better, judiciary or going in the corporate law? And like, is it disadvantage? Is it like some sort of disadvantage to study corporate law if you're preparing for judiciary?
Well, ideally, see, nothing is a disadvantage in life. Okay, acquiring knowledge is never a disadvantage. But yeah, I mean, whenever you're studying anything apart from your syllabus, or if your interest lies in subjects which are not part of your syllabus, then obviously that'll take away from what you have to study for your exam. So, yeah, I mean, stick to your syllabus. I guess that's the best way to go about it.
So next is like, how important do you feel like it is important to go for an offline coaching, and also like some tips to like how should we analyze the previous year question papers?
See, with respect to the coaching, I think I'd say again it's very personal. I think I've addressed this before, so I won't talk more about it. You gauge your confidence, okay, and you can decide accordingly whether you want to just you're okay with the test series or you want to do a whole foundation batch of 1.5 2 years. That's your choice. So yeah, I think that's what it is. And what was the second part of it, please?
Any tips to analyze the previous year question paper?
Previous I just say just keep reading them over and over again. Don't go into a full analysis ki is subject se itne sawal aaye, isse itne. Don't do all that. That wastes time. Also, it's tedious as well. So just keep going over them over and over again, because what happens is, it's something like math. So when you practice enough PYQs or multiple choice questions from all states, what happens is you will not get the same question in the exam, but if you've practiced enough, you'll be able to solve it. You understand? It's very mathematical. So try to do it like that.
So the next is, what would you suggest to optimize our time utilization while preparing for the exam, and also like how to optimize our study schedule so that there is no duplication of effort for the prelims and the mains?
Okay, that's a good question. I think I'll address my daily routine also into this question only as to what I used to do. So see, the thing is, you will have to be able to finish the syllabus, you need say 6 to 8 to 10 months, and you need to put in 8 hours of work a day, only with respect to law. Your general knowledge, English, anything else that comes, translation, whatever, is all after that. So 8 hours you need to study law properly. Okay. So I what I used to do is, because I was preparing full time, so I would try that before lunch I would do 4 hours, and after lunch I would do 4 hours. Okay, so that used to say maybe by around 6 or 7 or 8, depending on the day, how productive I've been. I would finish those 8 hours. It's essential that you work like that, because only then you will be able to finish the syllabus. It's not like you study 8 hours one day and take a break for a week. It'll not, you won't be able to finish the syllabus. That's the whole idea. Okay, so that's what you do, and then after that you look at the lighter things. You look at English, you look at GK, you watch some YouTube video, things like that. So, and how to optimize your prep, like I said, that I had prepared so well for the prelims itself, with sort of full force, and I was sort of a little desperate at the time, because I had already had one failure and I wanted to redeem myself. So you try to do as much as you can before the prelims only. Okay, so you look at your a little bit on your commentary, also a little bit of cases, and like a holistic study before the prelims, so that again during means you're doing a sort of a revision of what you've already studied. That would be a good idea.
Shahela, you can unmute yourself and ask your query. Okay. Huda Naz.
Hello.
Hi.
Uh, yes. Sorry. Good evening, ma'am. Actually, I want to ask the question that, like, I'm from UP,
Hmm.
but I want to appear for DGS, but my parents want me to appear for UP
Hmm.
judiciary exam. So I wanted to ask that, what's the strategy to prepare for two states? Like, how can I manage for both? Like, if you can share a little bit of tips for the strategy, so it will be very helpful.
I think, see again, as I've said before, also in the beginning of the session, that the difference between preparing for different states is overstated. It's not that different as we see, and I'm speaking from experience because I also prepared for two states. So I'd say the common subjects, the core subjects are always common. So CPC, CRPC, evidence, specific relief, contract, TPA, constitution. So 7 or 8 subjects will be common. So I'd suggest that those core subjects, which are common almost through all state judiciaries, you try to prepare those first. Go in depth and prepare them. I'd say that, and the reason why I'm saying that, you sort of do a pre and mains prep, because it helps you in all states. It's not, law is not so different. No, what are these? CRPC is the same ultimately. Somewhere they might ask you a more difficult question, somewhere they ask you an easy question, but law is the same only. So that's why I'm saying that you do a good prep. I'll also give you this one example. There was this book that I followed for MPCJ mains exam called Surbi Vadva. It's mentioned in that list of books also that I've spoken about. So that particular book, I remember there was a very good answer on section 133 of the Evidence Act and accomplice evidence and things like that. And a similar question was asked in Delhi, a theoretical question. And I ended up remembering what I'd studied for MP, and I reproduced that entire answer in Delhi, and I got decent marks in that. So there are a lot of topics like that which are common, which you don't need to study twice, mostly in the common subject. So you'll be fine. It's just that, see, don't think too much about how different they are or how difficult it'll be. Like my approach was that, okay, abhi, in 1 month I have DJS prelims, I'm only going to focus on this and that's it. And after that, I have 2 weeks later I have MPCJ prelims, I'm only going to focus on that and that's it. Okay. So be a little smart and be a little calm about it. You'll be able to like pull through. It's not that tough.
Thank you, ma'am.
Huda Naz, you may unmute and ask.
Good evening, ma'am.
Hi.
Okay, so I have already mentioned my question in the chat box and I will repeat it here as well. I want to ask you to talk about your preparation strategy for non-law subject, basically history, because it is taking a toll on me while I am like reading it from ancient to the modern. Right now, I have started recently, and also, do you have any recommendations for the coaching centers, mainly like either online or offline, if you could recommend that you have taken?
See, I don't want to take names of any coaching institutes, right? So you could get in touch with me personally, and I'll tell you that. Also, you could visit my LinkedIn page. I've mentioned from all the places I sought help from, I took coaching from. You could see it from there as well. You could get in touch with me on Telegram or LinkedIn. This is for everybody. And I usually regular in replying to people's queries. So we could address that on a less public platform. With respect to your first query, sorry, what was your first query? Sorry.
Ma'am,
Uh,
how did you prepare for non-law subjects,
Non-law
basically
subject. Yeah.
history, English,
Yeah.
and all?
See, because I was, see, it all depends on the state that you're preparing for. Like in Delhi, the main focus is on current affairs or on legal current affairs, certain developments or amendments in laws that are asked in the GK part of it, and you're supposed to write an essay on it. Plus, in prelims, you don't have GK at all, you only have legal GK. So again, that is gone. So because I was preparing here, I didn't really have to read a lot of history, geography, etc to do with in Delhi. But again, for MP, like we have 20 marks of GK, so I didn't really study GK from a particular book because I was sort of drowning in the law subjects only. And see, it's judicial services, right? You have to give more importance to the law subjects. GK should always be like given a relative importance. The weightage is also not that much. So I'd say that probably, see, if it's a prelims, like if GK is being asked in the prelims, so get a little smart with your sources. There are so many websites that have like daily quizzes for current affairs and for GK. You could look at those. Like that's what I did. It wasn't like, or if you could get your hands on some CLAT prep material which has GK questions in it. Like history के सिर्फ MCQs आपको मिल जाए या art and culture के सिर्फ MCQs मिल जाए important topics वाले. So look at stuff like that. Like for MP, there's this book Arihant for Mpgk by Arihant. So I didn't read the whole book. I just solved the MCQs behind every chapter. That's what I did because there wasn't enough time to to read the whole book and read their history and all the dynasties, and that's not a smart way of going about it at all. You could take help of technology. See, there's YouTube channels. There are wonderful videos, like a 3-hour video which will deal with MPGK, and give you like a overview of that, or any particular topic, rivers in MP or whatever, things like that. So look at stuff like that. It seems a little haphazard. Sorry. But yeah, I think you'll have to, like, I approached it that way only and it was fine. You could do the same.
Nilima Singh.
Thank you so much.
Sorry.
Good evening, ma'am.
Yeah.
Ma'am, I have a set of questions to ask. My first question is that how shall we make notes, and when is the right time to start making notes?
Okay, see, with respect to notes, when I started my preparation, I started with a lot of josh, like everybody starts, and you are at your, you have like the greatest motivation at that time also. With, okay, okay, I'll make handwritten notes for everything, and all the bare act sections, I'll, reduce them to notes and things like that. It's not very sustainable, to be honest. Okay, I have abandoned so many uh, chapters and books and subjects just in the middle because I said, okay, I'm wasting too much time writing. I'd rather read and revise and re-revise, things like that. So I always advise uh, all aspirants that you should make notes for revision. So try to make post-it notes, okay, or try to, if there's a provision, try to write the keywords in like 4 or 5 keywords that you have to remember from this particular provision, right? Or cases, so you write the name of the case and say the ratio a little bit. Just imagine that you are outside the exam center and you have 10 minutes to revise a particular topic or topics.
Right.
Okay, what notes would you prepare for that? I used to prepare notes with that mindset. So I'd advise everybody to do that. Don't make extensive notes; it's a waste of time.
Ma'am, so many people say that you should make notes like mains oriented and like a full-fledged answer. So is it like
See, answer writing is different. Okay,
okay?
that you have to do, that practice you have to do, and I think that's enough. Okay, and making notes is different. So I would always advise that you do answer writing. You try to like time yourself. Okay, this is the exact watch I was wearing in both my mains, which I would keep on the side, and I would time myself during the mains also and otherwise also, and say that okay, I'll try to write an answer in 7 to 8 minutes. That's the
Right,
average time you have, 6, 7, 8 minutes to write a particular mains answer. So you try to do that. Okay, but
right.
that is different. That is answer writing practice. Notes is different. So don't waste time on notes. That's what I'm saying.
Okay. So, ma'am, my second question is that how shall I divide my time like to all the subjects, and like shall I start studying all the subjects together or like uh
No, no, no. See, no, like take every subject, one by one. Take all parts of your syllabus one by one. You'll understand that there are certain major and certain minor subjects. You'll understand in terms of weightage also. Like CPC and CRPC are so basic and they're such a, they form part of the core syllabus that that's never going to leave your picha. Okay. So that you have to do really, really well. So that's a heavy, and they're very heavy subjects also, mind you. You try reading 4 or 5 orders of the CPC at one go, like mera pura aise sar garam ho jata tha.
right,
Okay, so they are heavy subjects. So you do that. You take up, like I used to do like a major and minor subject together. Say I read CPC and then I read the Limitation Act. Okay, I read CPC and then I read um CRPC and I read negotiable instruments, things like that. So do it like that, do it smartly. Sometimes, it also happens like I used to follow this thing that suppose you read for 1 hour, okay, because the human mind can concentrate for 40, 45 minutes at a go. So you read a particular topic for 1 hour and after that you solve MCQs related to that, okay, from whatever source you have.
right,
Again, please refer to my list of reference books. Or you look at the mains questions that come from a particular topic. There are books which have mains questions also, topic wise, arranged from all states. Okay,
right,
unsolved. There's an unsolved book that comes, Singhals Care, that is also part of my list. So you could look at that. So that's what, take breaks, like do it smartly. 1 घंटा ये कर लिया, फिर question solve कर लिए, फिर से 1 घंटा आपने पढ़ लिया, फिर do it like that. You'll be able to. That's how you'll be able to sustain it. If you make this thing, 4 hours continuously I'll do CRPC, it never happens. Till today I can't study CRPC for 4 hours continuously. Okay, so be kind to yourself.
Ma'am, also I had this question that since like I'm in my fourth year right now and
Yeah,
I have my college and internships going along with it,
yeah.
so how shall I like how much time shall I devote to like judiciary for like to give so that I can appear for the paper after I graduate?
See that, I mean, see again, that's very, very like personal to you, because nobody would know how much time you're actually able to take out in a day when you're busy with all these things. And I expect it's not that much. It won't even be 3 or 4 hours effectively, when you actually come down to studying.
Yeah,
So, and that's why I never tried all this along with college. Like these stunts I never did, because I couldn't manage that. So I started preparing after I graduated.
right,
And in college I did whatever I could do while I was in college. So maybe, maybe you should, maybe somebody else who probably started their preparation while in college would be able to answer this better. But realistically, I don't think you can take out more than 3 or 4 hours in a day, and that is also too much. Like 3 or 4 hours of study is a lot of study, actually, let me tell you.
right.
So yeah.
So, ma'am, my one last question is, what, according to you, should be like an ideal revision strategy,
Hmm.
so that I don't miss out on revising the subjects which I've already
Yeah,
studied?
so I used to do this thing that when 3 weeks would be over, say I started preparing from today and 21 days I've prepared. After that, I start revising certain topics that I've already done. And for me, I never did revision of one whole bare act together.
Right,
Okay. I would always do topic wise revision. So say I pick up like 4, 5 topics from IPC and do a revision of that. 4, 5 topics from certain small bare acts, you can just do the whole bare act. Like SRA, you can do the whole bare act. Okay, Contract also 1 to 75, sections 1 to 75, probably you can do the whole pair act in one go. So things like that. So revision I always did topic wise, or you probably look at them as a mains question, and revise it like that. So yeah, I think.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Anchit Goyal.
Good evening, ma'am.
Hi.
Ma'am, my question is that I'm facing problem with which subject to start with, as due to having the less time, I am already working on my substantive subjects like the IPC. And
Hmm.
ma'am, I'm getting confusion that whether I should read the one subject only or whether I should go for the multiple subjects.
See, actually, it's more of a trial and error method, because I also figured this out, that what works best for me only by doing trial and error. So I also tried to do one subject a day, but then I realized I started getting bored with that. So then I started doing maybe two subjects or three subjects in a day, like small chunks of the subjects. Obviously, you cannot do the whole subject in one go. So I would do things like that, because then when you've started, when you'll attain a certain point in your preparation wherein you'll have read a lot of things, and then it'll start getting very boring also to keep reading all those things again. So maybe then a mix of certain subjects is good. So it's very trial and error. You'll have to do a little bit of trial and error to understand what works for you. And so first try with one subject, doesn't work, then probably do like a major and minor, like I said, do something like that. I would also suggest, like, see, I was very scared of CRPC, so I left that for the end, okay, when I started preparation. So I did like all my other acts before that. So whatever act I liked, I really liked the Indian Contract Act, so I picked it up and I studied before. So you can do that also. You can be like, don't worry about the order in which you're approaching your syllabus. Like, you can do that also. जो अच्छा लग रहा है वो पहले पढ़ते जाओ, लास्ट के लिए डिफिकल्ट चीज छोड़ लो. कुछ लोग करते हैं कि डिफिकल्ट चीज पहले कर लेते हैं और लास्ट के लिए इजी छोड़ देते हैं, वो भी आप कर सकते हो. सो जो भी चले आपके लिए, जो चल जाए वो कर लो.
One more question is there, ma'am. And
Yes.
there is a set of 4 volumes of the singles MCQ book for the prelims. Will
Yes.
it be good option for the prelims for
Yes.
DJS
Yes. Good option.
and also for the mains the singles material which is available?
Yeah. Good enough. Yeah.
So, thank you.
Simrati Datta.
So, ma'am, you have always said that taking up any particular law for the majors is not a disadvantage. But still,
Hmm.
I want to ask this question. I wish to take up international law
Hmm.
or the maritime law
Hmm.
as my majors.
Hmm.
So, will that be any sort of helpful towards my judiciary prep, or will it have a different arena to it altogether?
See, what is not part of your syllabus, okay, if it's not a part of your syllabus, then it won't really help you that much, okay. Because there's always a relative importance. Plus, they have, when you become a judge, there are certain laws you have to deal with. So that's what they're going to test you on. So it won't help you out that much. But still, in the same breath, I'd say while you're in college, explore all the possibilities that you like, and study the law that you want. And you know once you start preparing, then you can just focus on the core subjects of your syllabus. Yeah.
Ma'am, I have one more question.
Yeah.
As this is a state-based examination, so the language really matters for that.
Yeah.
And I have a stronger hold in Bengali than in Hindi, because Hindi stretches to more states than that of Bengali.
Yeah.
So will that be a hindrance? Because in Hindi, I only have limited working professional that efficiency, and Bengali I have the native efficiency. So will that be a problem?
I mean, see, the thing is, translation is one major aspect of your mains exam, okay, and it's also compulsory. Just in UPSC, the language papers are only qualifying, but here the language papers are not qualifying. The language part of the paper is not qualifying. It adds to your merit and ultimately your rank. So you have to deal with it with a little bit of um, caution, and you have to give it the due importance also. Like in MP, it's 40 marks for translation, so that's a major chunk of your mains marks. Right? In DJS also it's 20. So I'd say, see, a working um, knowledge of Hindi is also okay. What you essentially have to do is just work a little harder on the language part of it if you're appearing for a Hindi speaking state. And so that you can score in the uh, because see, translation or all these things, they're supposed to be very scoring. Summarization or essay writing, they're supposed to be the scoring parts of your exam. Okay. So I'd say that you cannot take it lightly, so you'll have to probably work a little harder on it. But again, in the same breath, I'll say nobody, even a Hindi speaking person, right, is not very good with the legal Hindi that is expected out of you. So no, we don't call cognizable offenses as sange aprad, or we don't say gair zamanti aprad, or dan prakriya sangita. We don't say all that. So everyone will have to work on that. Even a Hindi speaking person will have to read. Like I also had to go through this 1300 word glossary, because so many Hindi words we also don't know. So don't worry about it. Just you'll probably have to set aside some time to work on it, like maybe 1 hour every day, but it's something which is workable. You can do it. Like, it's not that big a deal.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah.
Riddhi Garg.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening.
Ma'am, my question is कि मैम सारे जो sections हैं मैम, is it important to read?
Bare Act की सारे sections.
हाँ जी मैम, or we can leave any important part.
No, see, you can. There are certain important parts of the Bare Act which are like, which you can't miss out, and certain sections that you just don't have to read. So yeah, I mean, जब आप जैसे previous years papers भी देखेंगे ना, तो आपको realize हो जाएगा important क्या है, नहीं है, जो भी. So yeah, you can. I mean, just the whole, like, nobody expects you to read all the 484 sections of the CRPC. You're not supposed to know every section with equal proficiency. You know. So yeah, you can do that. But then there are some acts, like the smaller acts. Could you? Yeah, thank you. So the smaller acts, I'd suggest that you should read each and every section. So, for instance, in the Indian Evidence Act, I don't miss out a single section. Okay, Contract Act, SRA, things like that. But okay, maybe CPC, CRPC, you can. There are certain important orders or sections. Just do those, and yeah, you'll be fine.
Like मैम कि जैसे आपने बोला है ना कि we can do the writing practice. तो मैम और अपने फ्रेंड से आपने रिव्यू करवाया, बट लाइक हम कैसे, अगर मेरे पास कोई फ्रेंड नहीं है, जो चलो कोई भी ऐसा कि जो प्रिपेयर नहीं कर रहा, देन मैम हाउ कैन आई डू दिस कि मैं किसी से मतलब आप कैसे मतलब फिर उस चीज को रिव्यू करवा सकते हो?
I'd suggest join a test series. Because that's the best thing. Like, that's the official way of reviewing your answers, basically. So you go and write a test, and they'll correct it for you and give you an opinion as to what you missed out on. They'll give you marks also, obviously. So yeah, test series is the official way. I did both. I joined a test series also, and I did the trying to take help from my friend. So yeah.
Ma'am, can you suggest any?
Any test series? Again, I don't want to take any names on this public platform, but yeah, we can. I spoken to you on LinkedIn. Have we spoken on LinkedIn?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, so then
Right.
I'll text you on LinkedIn then. Okay.
Okay, thank you so much, ma'am.
Yeah.
Abhin Gupta. Abhin Gupta.
Good evening, ma'am. Ma'am, one more
Yes.
question I have to ask that while preparing for the judiciary, it is necessary to do the internship side by side.
Internships.
Yes, ma'am.
Uh, yeah. I mean, I'd suggest yes. Obviously, don't uh, internships while you're in college, right? Like, usually we do internships then only. So yeah, I'd suggest you should do 3 or 4 internships throughout your LLB, DLLB, whatever. Um, uh, there was this one particular thing. So when I went for the MP interview, right? So they were asking people that what is your experience, or have you ever been to the court? you know so then, if a person doesn't have experience as an advocate, then the only time you get to go to the court is during an internship. Okay, so I would suggest that you try to do one internship. If you're really serious about judiciary, you should try to do one internship in the lower court under a magistrate. So there's a procedure, although I didn't have time to do it, but if you have time you should go ahead and do this, that you apply to the district court. They randomly assign you a magistrate's court, and then you can go there and watch the proceedings and make a report and things like that. So you can do that. So I would suggest that you do something like that, because then you will have something to say in the interview, that हाँ आप कोर्ट गए हैं, आपने कभी देखा है मैजिस्ट्रेट कैसे काम करता है, ठीक है, आप मतलब आ तो गए हैं यहाँ एग्जाम देने, बट आपने प्रैक्टिकली आपको पता भी है क्या कोई चीज. So things like that are asked in the interview in some states. So you'll just have something to say, plus you'll know what it is ultimately. So yeah.
Ma'am, like in the interview, you said that there are sitting panels like High Court judges and all. So
Yeah,
there is a language barrier also that we can use any of the language, Hindi or English. If we are suitable, we can use Hindi or we can use English any of the language.
usually there isn't a language barrier in Hindi speaking states, in the sense that, see, it's the medium of language that you're giving the exam in. So like my medium was English, so I'm expected to give the answers in English only. But sometimes if the judges start conversing with you in Hindi, then you can answer in Hindi also. It's not too much of a problem. But yeah, see, whatever you say in the interview, whatever you do, you have to keep it very formal. So if you are speaking in Hindi, also try to speak in the Shuddh formal Hindi. Then don't start speaking in English after that. Okay, so you have to just be a little careful. Keep that degree of formality and that degree of grace, because you're actually talking to a honorable high court judge.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah.
Amisha Sharma.
Ma'am, just one more question. Ma'am, for example, if you were have been starting with your preparation from today,
Yeah.
what will be the suggestion given by you for the particular thing?
So I would first look at the previous year's questions of the state that I'm going to target, or the state which is the next in line, for instance, whatever is closest, whatever exam is closest. So I would look at those, and then I would look at the Bear Act first, and I would read the Bear Acts of, corresponding to my syllabus, obviously, at least twice, and then I would move on to other things. So see, Bear Act is your best friend. It is your Bible. You have to start from that and you have to end with that also. Okay. So you can't leave that at all. So that is where you start.
Thank you.
So these are the questions from the chat box.
Yeah.
Could you please talk about the structure of the answers in the mains?
Oh, yeah, yeah, lovely. Okay. This is important. I'd say, see, there are two kinds of questions. There is a theoretical question and a hypothetical question. Now, most of the states ask only theoretical questions. Delhi also asks some. So, for a theoretical question, number one, don't write your answers in big paragraph chunks. Okay, don't do like 7, 8 lines of a big text chunk. Nobody wants to read that. Okay, that's not a good idea at all. I would always suggest, and this was suggested to me by my mentor from Mpcj, who became rank 2 later on. So she told me this, that right, make a paragraph not more than 3 sentences or 4 sentences long. Okay, short paragraphs, leave lines. If you're writing essentials, write in points. Wherever you can write something in points, write it in points. Leave lines in the points also. Do a little bit of indentation also. For instance, you write an introduction which is say 2 lines. Okay, can you guys give me any particular topic? Dying declaration, is dying declaration good? Everyone's familiar with that. Okay, so say they're talking about, they ask you to write a theoretical answer on dying declaration. First you write, okay, dying declaration is given in this particular provision, section 32 Indian Evidence Act. Okay, write one other line with it, that okay, it is an exception to the rule of hearsay evidence. Dying declarations are accepted uh, as a rule of necessity. That's it, enough. That's enough of an introduction. Leave a line, go to section 32 के essentials. कि dying declaration verbal non-verbal हो सकता है, ठीक है. It is that person should not necessarily that the person is under expectation of death at the time. It can mean a civil or criminal proceeding, whatever. जो essentials Bear Act के हैं, Bear Act language में, you write that. You're done with the essentials. Okay, now write one illustration. which further explains what you are trying to say. Okay, because when you give an example of something, it is always a better way to explain that particular concept. So write that, leave a line, write say a case law relating to that. There are 100 case laws related to dying declarations. Okay, Kaushal Rao versus State of Bombay, Sharad Birji Chand Sharda, there's too many. Okay, keep can dying declaration be treated as the sole piece of evidence on which you can convict a person? Several case laws on that. So write two cases maximum, two is enough. Then write a conclusion. ठीक है, conclusion में you can insert a recent case. Okay, and with dying declaration there are 100 recent cases also. Every month one new case will come out on dying declaration. Okay, so end it with a recent case. I always feel like if you add a recent case to your answer, it increases the value, because it shows that you are not only up to date with the base knowledge, but you're also up to date with the current development in that particular field. So add a recent case also. That's your answer. Done. Okay, so structure it. See, presentation is important. All the elements of the answer are important. Write it in such a way that the person who is reading your answer, who just looks at your answer visually first, is able to know the elements of the answer. कि अच्छा इसने intro भी लिखा है, चलो essentials भी लिखा है, you know, इसने अच्छा illustration भी दिया, अच्छा case भी दिया है, अच्छा conclusion भी लिख दिया, stuff like that. Okay, so yeah.
So ma'am, next question is from the YouTube live. It sounds like, would it be ideal for a first generation law student to do advocacy for a year or two and then go for judiciary? Like, should a chance be taken for advocacy?
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely advise that if age is on your side, you know, because these exams are age barred. So if age is on your side, do practice for 1 or 2 years. I think now in MP you have a restriction of 3 years, minimum 3 years practice. So somewhere you have to do it also. So yeah, you can do that. I'm also a first generation lawyer only. Age was not on my side actually, unfortunately, so I didn't have time to do a litigation. But yeah, I'd advise. It's a very good idea. Sorry, I didn't talk about hypothetical questions for the main Zala. I'll just quickly address that. For hypos, what I did is you give a little brief introduction of the particular. You'll understand the topic from which the hypo is coming. Say the topic is coming from bailment. Okay, in Contract Act. So you give like 2 lines of introduction. Again, what I said. Don't make the introduction very long. You don't have to write a story. Okay, so do that, and then you frame issues. Okay, that's what I did. That's what we used to do in college also. That's the only way to answer hypos. Frame issues. What is the legal issue? Okay, whether there was, like in bailment, a legal issue could be whether there was delivery of possession to the bailee or not, you know, something like that. So make that, and first you write all the three issues jitne hai, so that the examiner knows that you're dealing with these three aspects of law in your question. Then you start taking the issues one by one. So what I did is that you write the three issues, then in the center after that I wrote issue number 1. Okay, just the title, issue number 1, and then whatever my answer and reasoning for it, give that and finish that off. Then issue number 2. So that's a very systematic way of approaching a hypothetical question. You know, some people, they just write all the reasoning, all the cases, sab kuch aise khichdi bana ke, and at the end they'll just give a decision, which doesn't, you know, you don't even write a judgment like that. In judgments also you frame your issues and points of determination. So do that.
So the next question is again from YouTube. Ma'am, I'm from MP and I'm willing to go for judiciary, but my area of interest is corporate and not litigation. So will it make any difference?
I don't, I mean, so you want to go for judiciary, but you like the corporate law subjects more. That's
Yes.
that's how. Okay, so that's okay. I don't think that matters, as long as you just you can keep love, you can keep your interest for corporate law, and as long as you study the syllabus that's given in MP, uh, you'll be fine. Yeah.
So next question is how many hours should be given for answer writing and revision?
See, in terms of hours, I mean, I I don't know. But see, answer writing, I would say take it like sort of you can take it slow. Don't start writing like a full length test only 3 hours ka, you know, right in the beginning. So maybe do like 2 questions of answer writing. Start with that. That okay, today I'll do 2 questions. So that would be probably half an hour or 1 hour of your time. Like from day one, I'm saying. Okay, so give it like less time. Again, see, I'll say this again, answer writing is also like math. As long as you've practiced it enough number of times, okay, it doesn't mean that the same question has to come in the mains exam, but you will know the technique of writing an answer, you know. So you don't have to practice answer writing for each and every topic that exists under the sun. Do you understand? So be smart about it.
Next is like if you could provide us your telegram if you have any.
Telegram, yeah, I think you just search my name, Sukriti Jha, Sukritijha. I think you'll find me. A lot of people actually have just found me like that and just texted me. So, and I mean, now you know how I look, so my DP is also there on Telegram. So yeah, I think it should be fine. Yeah.
So, ma'am, do you believe that self-isolation during preparation is the key to success, or like does it help in preparing better?
Self isolation, no, 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 absolutely not. Oh my god, do not make this mistake. Preparation can never be done in isolation. Like preparation for a competitive exam, you should, like, like I was in touch with my peers, I was in touch with coaching institute teachers, or I was in touch with like my professors from college, whatever. Be in touch with people. I'm not saying social, like, please don't misquote me, I'm not saying socialize with people and waste your time. I'm saying that you have to be in touch with people, discuss karo, koi particular topic samajh mein nahi aa raha, call up a friend and say ki yaar, let's discuss what is the concept in this, could you just explain it in simple language to me. If somebody calls you up, like, be willing to take that call, because only when you explain something to someone in a simple language do you understand it better yourself. So don't isolate yourself, please don't do that, it's not required. This exam is not that tough that you need to close yourself in a room and forget about the world. Like, be very balanced, study also for 8 hours in a day, but talk to people also, talk to people on the weekend, go out a little, chill out, it's okay. You'll get there, okay? I also did the same things, that's why I'm just telling you, don't be in, like, don't study in isolation, please, please, just don't.
So let's have this last question, the universal question. At what time should we ideally start to prepare, like during the law school or after law school, and what should be the ideal preparation hours for an aspirant?
Mm, I I mean, probably we've dealt with this, but again, I'll just say this for clarity. I would say in your penultimate year, you should start preparation. Before that, you study well in law school. I also, did moots, I wrote papers. In fact, in my interview, because you have to mention certain achievements, so they give you this form which you have to fill. You mention certain achievements. So I had mentioned a particular moot. If you're familiar with Viz Hong Kong, I did Viz Hong Kong while in college. So, Justice Siddharth Mridul asked me about the moot, and he asked me a little bit about the problem. Then he quizzed me on arbitration only after that. So, things happen like that. They know that when you were in college, you did other things. You explored all aspects of what is to be enjoyed in college. So that's always like a well-rounded person is always better than somebody who's only been studying. So understand it from that perspective. So I'd say penultimate year. And sorry, second question.
The ideal number of hours.
Ideal hours, yeah, like I said, 8 to 10 hours a day is minimum. You'll have to do that for at least 6 to 8 months in order to finish the syllabus with a slight revision also, maybe like syllabus 1.5 times you can finish, 1.5 to 2 times. So yeah, 8 to 10 hours you have to do. There is no escape from that.
So all the questions in the chat box have been addressed. So Anchit, your hand is raised. Do you have any query? Okay, so Nilima Singh.
Yeah, so ma'am, I had a question regarding the static GK part in the UP Judicial Services examination.
Hmm.
So, like, what material or what kind of books shall I refer for the static GK as well as the current GK?
I am probably not the best person to refer any material, because I never studied, and UP has a very high weightage for general knowledge and current affairs. So you probably cannot do a superficial reading of that. So you'll need, probably, say if you're doing a coaching, then they'll provide you material. That also happens. So you could refer to that material, or you could refer to certain books. I'm sure, if you just, actually, half the books that I found were that I would just go on Flipkart or Amazon and just search ki MP mains answer writing book. Okay, and then I would find certain books and I would read the reviews and recommendations and then get those. So nobody told me, 3 years ago, that this is what you have to read or whatever. So you could also do that. Mostly, see, one book is as good as the next. Okay, topics are mostly repeated only in every book. So you could do that. I'm sure there is material for, specifically for UP, general knowledge and current affairs, somewhere in some book. Okay, I'm sure it's available. Just go have a look.
Ma'am, is it like the NCRT from like class 6 to 12 like sufficient for?
I mean, yeah, see, of course, it's sufficient. That's UPSC level of GS that you're studying, from class 6 to 12 NCRT. But I mean, see, I don't know. I'm sorry. For UP, I don't know. So probably ask somebody else better qualified.
Sure, ma'am. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Sahil.
Good evening, ma'am.
Hi.
Ma'am, I just wanted to ask a question that is it good to get promoted to any judge level through litigation or should we appear for judiciary exam once?
Well, you know, I I actually don't know the other side of it, that how easy or difficult it is, that when you're a practicing lawyer, how easy or difficult it is for you to get promoted to a position of a judge. So I don't know how that works. So I would only give you like a one-sided answer. But I see, the thing is, now when you look at something like an examination, even though it looks very tough, an exam is solely on the basis of merit. Okay, so it is totally dependent on you, how much you study, how much effort you put in. Okay, are you studying more than the next person or not? But when it comes to something like being recommended for something, then it's not just your merit that you're doing for the exam, right? It's a lot about your reputation. It's I mean, like, unfortunately, about networking as well. Okay, so which is why the whole system of recommending somebody and all might have factors which are not in your control. I always feel like an examination has a lot of things which are in your control only. Like, studying is, I think, the thing which is most in your control in this whole world. Okay, so I would suggest try for the judicial services. If it the lower like the DJS is not good, you could see, like, if you have lost time for that, then you could go for the higher judiciary, like the DHJS. So there are two options. So try. There's no harm in trying once, and then you can explore other options or litigation, things like that.
Okay,
So,
ma'am. Thank you.
so we have one more question in the chat box. That is, when should we start practicing the judgment writing, and what are your tips for the same?
Judgment writing, I would see. I did it prior to my mains only. I didn't practice judgment writing as much. Okay, maybe, like, I must have done maybe 4 or 5 times that I practiced, like, writing a whole judgment. Okay, in Delhi it was not required because judgment writing aata nahi hai, so it's only for MP. So yeah, but my score in judgment writing also wasn't very good. Okay, so maybe you could ask somebody who probably had a better score. But yeah, I mean, do see. I would say, like, for, like, translation or essay writing, judgment writing, you can practice all this a little closer to the mains. You know, focus on before your prelims, and sort of in the middle, you can focus on the core law aspect of it. That would be better.
So this is from YouTube Live. Is it possible that preparation for judiciary can complete in 6 months as averted by few coaching institutions?
Uh, Completed in 6 months. Well, it's not impossible, but I don't know. I think it'll take a little longer than that. So I don't know. Yeah, I wouldn't know. It's not impossible, but then, it's like 12 hours, 10 to 12 hours of studying a day, because you don't only have law, right? You have, like, other aspects of it also. So it does take about 8 to 10 months, in my opinion.
So I guess like we have already answered all the queries. If anyone has any other, then okay. So we have one more. How to start judgment writing? I guess like you.
I think I dealt with it. See, you can probably buy a book for judgment writing. Like I had taken like a short crash course from KK Bharadwaj sir for particularly for MP. He had a book which was judgment writing by KK Bharadwaj. So I studied that. I did the PYQs. There were certain other practice judgments also. Um, so that's what I did. I mean, yeah.
So I guess we have reached the end of the queries. Like you can give some overall tips that you would like to give to the aspirants
Overall
out
tip.
there.
Oh my God. Okay. I think as a parting note, I would just say that see, this process is very easy, but you know, if sorry, it's not very easy. It's not very easy. But the thing is, if it were that easy, or if it were something that was so attainable by everybody, then everybody would become a judge, right? So the fact that it's challenging and it's time consuming and it tests your patience, um, that's all part and parcel of the process, but ultimately you have to look at the benefit of it, that for the next 34, 35, 36 years until your retirement you're sorted. You know, a pandemic will come and go and nobody can, you're in a secure government job. So if that's what you want, and I think that in India, usually that's what most people want. So I think, yeah, just don't be bothered by the process, just keep going. uh, Also, one advice, like, which is personal to me, when you feel like quitting, I don't think that's the time you quit. Like, there was a time when I felt like quitting, I didn't, and I'm so glad I didn't, because I would not see what I'm capable of if I had quit at that time. So yeah, just think twice before you're going to leave this process.
So I guess we can have the last query of the day. Hudda, now you have raised your hand.
Yes, so one last query. Actually, my peers and my parents are like telling me to join some coaching while I am in my college. Currently, I am going to start with my seventh semester from July,
Okay.
13th July. Yeah, so they are saying that I should go for some online coaching either in fourth year or fifth year, or should I go for something like after completing my graduation? Like, I am a
No,
little.
you could go for a coaching right now. Go for an online coaching. I think that's the best. Yeah, you could do a coaching right now, and then like the self study part of it might come after you graduated.
Alright, thank you so much, ma'am.
So now I guess we can proceed towards the end of the session.
Yeah.
So, on behalf of the amicus curiae, I would like to thank you, like, for your presence in this session. I am sure, like, it would have helped a lot of aspirants, like, they would have solved their queries which they could not earlier. And we feel fortunate to have this opportunity to hear from you on this. And once again, thank you for your time, insights, and the passion that you have to help all this aspirants. We are grateful for this to have you as our guest speaker, and we hope to have a chance once again to work with you in the future. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I had a very good session with you guys, and all the best.